Hi!
Welcome to Gender Adventures! Today this episode is about stories about coming out. Well, mostly our tales about how we've come out.
And people's reactions to said things.
Mine are a little bit more unique because, as I had mentioned in previous episodes, I'm a massage therapist. So, some clients knew before I started going on hormones, because they're a little bit more open-minded, but other clients I kind of held off on until they noticed.
Yeah.
For the most part, it's gone pretty well. Really, how people tend to notice is my voice. My voice has been changing. And so people will be like, "Oh, do you have a cold?" I go, "No, it's just my voice now." And
I love that. I think that's hilarious.
Some people will leave it at that. Other people will go, "Oh, really?" And I go, "Yes, it's because of the testosterone." And then some people just drop it, or they go, "Testosterone?" I go, "Yes. I don't know if I told you or not, but I'm transitioning." And some people, I honestly can't remember if I told them or not, because I have quite a few clients, and I'm not gonna send out a mass email about that, because not everybody on our client list is my client.
And you can't always tell who's going to be receptive to that sort of thing.
Yeah. And it doesn't change how I work. It
Yeah.
doesn't change who I am. I'm still me. From there, most people tend to just go, "Oh, okay." Other people do ask follow-up questions, and that is all right, especially when they ask them respectfully, as we've discussed in previous videos. Sometimes it is a little awkward because I've had to come out a lot of times in a one-on-one situation.
You're probably the most well-practiced between the two of us.
Yeah, but people still use wrong pronouns. But that's because I'm going by Abigail at work, as also discussed in previous videos.
It's true. As I've mentioned in several videos before at my work, which my job situation has changed since the past video, but at my previous job, it took me a while to get to a stage where I was kind of comfortable coming out at work, which I didn't realize that some people will go for, years at the same place, and not come out to people.
Yeah. Just never come out.
For me it was kind of like, well, I'm gonna be here for a while, and this is gonna be happening, and I'm going to be wearing women's clothing more often. I should probably, I should probably do this. That was my thought process. That may not be your thought process, but everyone's journey is different. I came out to my supervisor first. I was so scared. I had to do it in an email. And you know what? I don't blame anyone who feels like they can express themselves better in emails, because that's me.
Yeah.
Like, I feel so much better about what I say when I express myself through written word. I sent her an email, and it was just kind of outlining, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to be going by Lucy. I haven't told anyone else at work yet. I heard from her the very next day, and she was extremely excited and very positive. She was very, very kind. And she even went so far to say, if you need any help with the name change, let me know. About a month goes by of her knowing, and me kind of like still dressing in, androgynous looks. Until finally I got the letter.
The HRT recommendation letter.
Yes. And by the time I knew that was going to be a thing, I figured, you know what, this is going to happen. I might as well just tell folks. And so in our stand-up meeting, just with the department, by the way, I didn't do a whole company-wide announcement or anything like that. Just with the people I worked with on a day-to-day basis. And they actually responded by saying, "Have you chosen a name yet?" And I'm like, "Yeah, Lucy." And they just started calling me Lucy.
Right away.
Like right away. Now I know that's not everyone's coming out at work story, but sometimes, sometimes it can be good. Passive route's totally okay, by the way. You're not any less trans for just letting other people think what they think.
Eventually people are gonna notice when I have facial hair. Then I'll continue to have the conversation, and that is fine.
So, what was it like coming out to your family?
Oh, yes, we already kind of covered this one because my story is super short, but it's a really good story. When I came out to my mom, I thought it was going to be a little bit harder than it actually was. We were kayaking, and I kind of went, "Hey, Mom, I've been dressing in male clothes more often." And she's like, Yeah. And I'm like, well, I kind of have something to tell you. And she's like, I have 2 sons. I know. I'm like, oh, okay. That was super easy. Coming out to my brother was also tough, but I did so on the phone. And I kind of did so in a voicemail first, but then he called me back, so then I actually had a conversation with him. And, you should definitely actually talk to people. I was letting my brother know that I was going to propose to Lucy, and then I also said that I had some other big life news to share. And he thought that I was pregnant. Boy, was it the opposite. Of going, hey, I'm going to start transitioning. With that kind of news, he did handle it pretty well. And he supports me being happy. My sister has been super hella supportive as well. I didn't really fully come out to her in person, but she's been so wonderful. And she's been great with, like, my nieces and nephew and kind of talking that. And her husband's been pretty great too. So I've also really appreciated that. We've actually had really good coming out stories. I've still been really scared about doing all of it. My dad doesn't know, and I actually haven't talked to my father about it because we're just estranged.
But it's also like important to understand that some people do have situations where one parent may be ready to hear it and another parent just isn't.
Yeah.
And it may never. My coming out to my family was a little
yours was an email again, too.
It took me a while. Okay, so, like, the email was, like, the culmination of it. That was when, like, I really, like, solidly decided that, yeah, I'm going through with hormones. So, like, I actually technically came out a couple of years before I met you. It was, like, right around the beginning of me kind of exploring myself and everything. I had kind of come to terms with the fact, or with the idea that I identified as bisexual and I identified as bigender. I just didn't really know how that kind of fit within my life, but I wanted to tell my family.
Yeah,
because they've been very important to me over the course of my
awesome
life.
Family.
Coming out to my family was a little different because they may not be staunch traditionalists. Remember from previous videos, I come from a very Catholic family, but they're also not used to this. They're not used to the whole idea. They didn't really know what to think of it. I remember the first time I came out to them, because I think I've come out to my family like 3 times now, all with the same shit. I sat my mom and my dad down in the living room, kind of like family meeting style. And I just told them, so I've been doing some research on all this, and I identify as bisexual and bigender. And the first response that my dad had to it was kind of, okay. He didn't really understand, why I felt the need to say this, because it kind of, I'm paraphrasing him, he grew up in the 80s, and I guess labels weren't really much of a thing. There weren't really words to describe what I was trying to convey. Because, my situation, I don't feel 100% female. And so it wasn't like I was coming to my parents saying, Mom, Dad, I'm a woman.
Yeah.
It's, Mom, Dad, I'm half woman, or I'm half man, half woman. Fast forward a couple of years where this gender identity kind of takes a back seat in my mind because of, like, graduating, moving around, changing jobs, trying to make a living as an adult. Finally, I meet you, and those feelings start coming back because I'm in a situation where I'm allowed to explore myself again. Mm-hmm. And so then, by that time, I actually came out to my parents separately. My mom first, saying, hey, Mom, you remember those feelings that I had a couple of years ago? They're back. And my mom was kind of like, okay. I wondered, that sort of thing. But since then, she's been very supportive, being like, hey, I've got some extra dresses. You want some extra dresses or something like that? My dad, however, it was a little more difficult for me to come out to him this second time. Because, it is something he is not used to. So what I ended up doing, and this is after the first time I posted pictures of myself in drag, and I had started showing up to more pride events and things like that. I did it in the only way I did it in the most manly way I could think of. I took him out to Buffalo Wild Wings. And we sat and we talked, and I said, okay, I'm going to be using these labels. I just want you to know that these labels are how I'm able to talk to you. This is how I feel. This is what is possibly going to happen. I'm still me. I'm still your kid, and I still love you. And at the end of this entire conversation, my dad just said, well, you know what? The only thing that makes me unhappy is when you're unhappy. If this makes you feel happy, then go for it. That was a huge relief. And then finally when I realized that, oh my God, I'm going to get hormones, like once I got all the dates set up and everything, then I typed out an entire email saying, okay guys, here's what's going on. And that I sent to all 4 other members of my family. And I've come out to cousins as well. Just a handful of them, the ones that I know for a fact are more on the progressive side, and they've been very supportive to me. I think our friend groups are just the best because
we have pretty good friends.
We have very good friends, and they've been incredibly supportive. And I know that with my friends, I came up to them. I know that I had told them earlier that, like, hey, I'm Lucy and it's she, her. And then I come to them a month later and say, actually, it's they, them. And they're like, okay, it's they, them. Having a support structure like that is very important. I actually don't know if your therapist talked to you about this, but my therapist very much said that, number one, she wouldn't be willing to write me the letter, and the doctors wouldn't even be willing to prescribe me hormones if I didn't explicitly say that I have a support structure in place, a social support structure in place. Because this is a lot to go through.
She didn't specifically mention that, but I did mention when I talked to her the first time that I did have a support structure. And that I actually not only have a support structure of supportive people, but I also have a support structure of people who are also going through the same thing that I am. And I'm very thankful for that as well. So I'm super thankful that other people feel welcome and open to be out and to be sharing their stories, which is something that encouraged us to do this too, to, help other people who may not have the support structure.
Thank you very much for watching and for letting us spout to you for the past few minutes. If you have any questions about our particular stories, feel free to leave them in the comments below.
Yep. Or just any comments as well. Hearing how our stories have helped you helps us be motivated to do this.
Once again, thank you very much for watching.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe if you're new to us.
And share as much as you can. Please do.
And we will see you in the next video. Bye.
Bye.